بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. How are you, my students? I hope that you're happy and healthy and ready for today's lesson, which is Unit 2, Pairwork. So you'll be working as pairs, you and your colleague, or you with your friend. But before we do that, let's open our workbooks. Exercise A in the beginning of Unit 2 in the workbook. Complete the sentences with the words from the box. You can notice here the box. We have here the word aroma, delicacy, licensed, peak, bitter, distinguish, locks in, and toxin. So we have 8 words here, and you notice here the word delicacy is already taken because of the first example here. Did you know that camel humps are a delicacy in China? They are usually boiled before they are served, but they are sometimes eaten raw. Again, did you know that camel humps are a delicacy in China? They are usually boiled before they are served, but they are sometimes eaten raw. And before we continue answering, remember the theme of this unit from the title itself: you are what you eat. Do you remember what's the meaning of you are what you eat? What does it indicate from our previous lesson? Yes, very good. You are what you eat. It means that you are as a health and your body. If you are eating healthy, you will be healthy. If you're not eating healthy, you will not be healthy. So you are what you eat. So this is the theme of this unit, about food, about eating food, of course. So let's take number 1 here. Paint has lots of in it. So you should try not to breathe in the fumes. Again, paint has a lot of something here in it. So you should try not to breathe in the fumes. So paint has a lot of what? A lot of aroma, a lot of distinguish. So the first one is paint has lots of, yes, toxins, poison. So paint has lots of toxins in it. So you should try not to breathe in the fumes. Very good. Number 2, Tom wants to get to fish so that he can catch some of the food his family eats. Again, Tom wants to get, so he wants to get something here, to fish, to go fishing, to fish, so that he can catch some of the food his family eats. So what does Tom want to get? What does Tom want to get? So Tom wants to get, yes, very good. So Tom wants to get licensed. He wants to have a license to fish. Tom wants to get licensed to fish so that he can catch some of the food his family eats. So this is what we chose here, the word licensed. Number 3, it is true that I can run 5 kilometers now, but years ago when I was at I could run 10 kilometers. Again, it's true that I can run 5 kilometers now, but years ago, so we think he's an old man now. Again, it's true that I can run 5 kilometers now, but years ago, when I was at I could run 10 kilometers. So when he was at his what? He says, when I was at at my peak, at my best shape, at my top shape. When I was at my peak, I could run 10 kilometers. Very good. So continuing here with number 4, I put a lot of sugar and milk in my coffee because otherwise it tastes too what? So without milk and sugar, coffee tastes what? Again, I put a lot of sugar and milk in my coffee because otherwise it tastes so, yes, I think this is an easy one. It tastes so bitter. So without sugar, coffee would taste bitter. Number 5, Some people say that you should soak a turkey in salt water before you bake it. Apparently, this all the juice, so it doesn't get dried out in the oven. Again, some people say that you should soak a turkey in salt water before you bake it. So before you bake it, you put it in salt water. Apparently, this does something here to the juice. All the juice. So it doesn't get dried out in the oven. So when you put it in the oven, it won't get dry. So this does what to the juice? Yes, very good. This locks in all the juice. So all the juice stays inside the turkey. This locks in all the juice so it doesn't get dried out in the oven. Number 6, the of fresh baked bread in the kitchen is making my mouth water. Again, something here, the of fresh baked bread. Fresh baked bread in the kitchen is making my mouth water. We know that fresh baked bread has a really nice smell. So, yes, very good. The aroma of fresh baked bread in the kitchen is making my mouth water. It means is making me hungry and craving the bread. Number 7, my mother is such a gourmet cook that it's difficult to between her cooking and restaurant cooking. Again here, my mother is such a gourmet cook that it's difficult to between her cooking and restaurant cooking. You can't tell the difference. So, yes, this is an easy one, that it's difficult to distinguish between her cooking and restaurant cooking. To distinguish means here to know the difference, to tell the difference. It's difficult to tell the difference between whether it's my mother or from the restaurant. To distinguish, it means to tell the difference. Continuing here with exercise B. Answer the questions. What are 2 things people need to be licensed to do? So I think here you can answer with anything you want as long as it is correct. As long as it is correct. What are 2 things people need to be licensed to do? Something that when you want to do, you have to have a license. You have to have a license. Like what? Give me just 2 examples here. So let's see what I have written here. People need to be licensed to fish and to drive. Of course, the first thing that comes to mind is driving. The first thing that comes to mind is driving, because I think this is a mandatory here. If you want to drive a car, you have to have a license. And also, as mentioned in the question earlier, you have to have a license to fish. So 2 things I named here is fish and to drive. Number 2, what's an aroma that you like? What's one that you don't like? What's an aroma that you like? What's one you don't like? So the aroma, the smell that you like and the one that you don't like. Of course, this is your own preference, your own choosing here. For example, I said I like the aroma of baking cookies, cinnamon and roses. So when baking cookies or even baking bread, the aroma, the smell is incredible. And I don't like the aroma of gas. I don't like the aroma of gas. When you stop at a gas station, when you smell the aroma there, I don't like that aroma or that smell. Give an example of a bitter food. I think you can give me more than one example here of bitter food. Of course, bitter is the opposite of, yes, it's the opposite of sweet. This is the opposite of sweet. So you can come up with many examples here. For example, coffee is bitter and dark chocolate is bitter also. So coffee and dark chocolate are bitter foods because there is no sugar in them. If you want a coffee to be sweet, you have to put sugar. Give an example of a sour food. Sour food. This is also an easy one. Give an example of a sour food. Yes, of course, like lemons and limes and sour foods and some kinds of oranges and so on. So number 5 here, give 2 examples of delicacies. Give 2 examples here of delicacies. So let's see what I have written here. Are fish eggs and chicken feet. 2 examples of delicacies are fish eggs and chicken feet. Number 6 here, why are toxins bad for us? I think this is an easy question to answer. Why are toxins bad for us? Like the paint, the fumes are toxins. Why are they bad for us? So I think this is an easy one here, because toxins are poisonous. Because they are poisonous, they are bad for your health and for your body. As easy here, toxins are poisonous. So let's revise what we previously took in the lesson and discuss. What is the most unusual thing you have ever eaten? Are you careful about the kinds of food you eat? Why or why not? Are you careful with that? What do you think the expression "you are what you eat" means? Do you agree? I think we have already done that in the previous lesson and also in the beginning of this lesson. Then we took this lesson here, food myths, some myths, and we have to decide whether if it's true or false. The number 1 here, many Japanese restaurants serve kind of fish that can kill diners within hours if not prepared properly. Eating chocolate has been linked to an increase in heart disease. Fresh vegetables and frozen vegetables are the same, or are fresh vegetables healthier than frozen vegetables? Continuing here, apples, potatoes, and onions, they all taste the same if you can't smell them. Is this true or false? And finally, red dye produced from grinding up insects. The red dye in food, is it from insects or not? Then we took some articles here about the blowfish and about the chocolate, as you can see here. Also about frozen vegetables and fresh vegetables. Are they the same? Do they have the same nutrition facts here? Or are they the same? And also number 4 here, we talked about the smell, the aroma of food. And number 5, we took the red dyed color. So we knew that it really comes from insects. Then we took some vocabulary here, some bitter foods here, coffee and some kind of lettuce, sour, lemon, and green apples. Also green apples is sour here, very good. Salty, from the word itself, that has salt, tastes like salt, potato chips, olives. Sweet, of course, you know, sweets like chocolates, candies, and cookies, and we filled this chart also in our previous lesson. So let's jump to our lesson today, Pairwork. Write true or false quiz. So you have to write true or false quiz by yourself. By yourself. You have to write true or false questions, not answering them. Also answering them, of course, but you have to write them on your own. So with a partner, write 3 more true or false statements about food. Read them to your classmates and ask if they are true or false. So just to refresh our memories, let's listen to what we previously took in our previous lesson, just to know how to write questions about true or false, write true or false questions. So let's listen to them again.
1. Blowfish, which are considered a delicacy in Japan, contain deadly toxins. If not properly prepared, eating blowfish can lead to death by poisoning. Victims usually die within 4 to 4 hours of consuming the fish. Blowfish diners count on specially licensed chefs to prepare the fish safely. 2. A number of studies have shown that chocolate consumption may reduce the risk of developing heart disease and cancer. Scientists believe that antioxidants reduce the chances of developing these diseases. Antioxidants are also thought to enhance blood flow and help maintain healthy cholesterol levels. Dark chocolate and cocoa powder are particularly rich sources of antioxidants. In fact, ounce for ounce, dark chocolate and cocoa have more antioxidants than antioxidant-rich foods like blueberries and green tea. Of course, it's not good to eat too much chocolate, but it's not a good idea to cut chocolate out altogether, either. 3. Frozen vegetables are at least as nutritious as fresh vegetables, and may sometimes actually be healthier. Fresh vegetables are at their nutritional peak at the moment they are picked. However, they often spend days or weeks in transit, in the produce aisle, and in your refrigerator. Over time, vegetables lose vitamins and minerals. However, frozen vegetables are picked and frozen at their peak. Freezing locks the vitamins and minerals in. When you do buy fresh vegetables, try to pick out ones that seem fresh and have been grown locally. 4. Up to 80% of taste comes not from our taste buds, but from our sense of smell. Taste buds allow us to identify bitter, salty, sweet, and sour flavors. But we depend on the smell of foods to give us most of our sense of flavor. So without smelling the aroma of a food, it is difficult to distinguish one flavor from another. Incidentally, this is why food loses its flavor when you have a stuffed-up nose. 5. Many food items with a deep red color, including fruit juices, candies, and gelatin, include a dye called cochineal or carmine. This dye comes from the shells of the female cochineal insect, which is found in South and Central America. The dye has been used for centuries and dates back to the Aztecs.
So now that we have listened, try to come up with 3 questions, true or false, whether it's about the article or any true false question about, as long as it's about food. So tell me the first one. Very good, but the first one I've written here, coffee is salty. Is this true or false? Coffee is salty. Yes, I think this is very obvious. It's false because coffee is bitter unless it has sugar in it, so it is sweet. The second one here, vegetables are healthy. The second one, vegetables are healthy. Is this true or false? So I think this is an obvious one. It's true. And the third one here, what have you written in the third one? Yes, okay, very good. But I've written here, it's good to eat too much chocolate. It's good to eat too much chocolate. So the answer here is, of course, false. So I think writing true or false question is an easy task. You take some facts from any article that you have read, and if you put it the same, it's true. And if you put it in a negative way, it is false. So here's a fun fact for you. Let's read it together. The tradition of eating blowfish, called fugu in Japan, is a very old one, dating back more than 2,000 years. Most deaths from eating it are due to improper preparation by people who are not qualified to prepare it. However, there are still between 20 and 40 fugu poisonings each year. There is no antidote. So if you're poisoned with this fish, it's over for you because there is no antidote. There is no cure. But not everyone who is poisoned dies. Doctors treat it by trying to keep the victim alive until the poison wears off. Scientists have now developed a non-toxic version of the blowfish that is safe to eat. However, for many, this doesn't have the thrill and excitement of the traditional fugu fish. So I think this is a weird fact, actually, that people prefer to eat the poisonous fish than the non-poisonous or the non-toxic one. And with that, we reach the end of this lesson. See you next lesson, inshallah. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik. Ashhadu anna la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum.